Hello students, today we will deal with the topic, the tissue, that is your chapter number 3, tissue. Before we start with tissue, you must know what is a cell. So you all have read in your previous chapter about cell. We say that cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. That means which perform all the functions and which can create a big structure. Like we human beings are all formed from a single cell, right? But now we have millions and billions of cells. That means the cells have divided and redivided and formed us as an organism, right? So, isn't like, what if I say that one person that go and play football will be quite boring and it will be quite hectic. You might be confused whether should I protect the goal or whether should I throw the goal, right? So even the cells, they work as a team. The cells, they combine together, they come together and they form tissue. But which cells? The cells which are similar in structure and similar in function. The cells which perform similar functions and the ones which are having similar structure, they come together, they lie together so as to work in a team and they form a tissue. Alright? So tissue basically is a team of workers which are working together in order to attain the goal, in order to do something. Alright? So when cells combine, they form a tissue. What will happen if tissues will combine? Different tissues will come together and they will form organ. When different organs will combine and work together, they will form organ systems. And when different organ systems will work together, they will form a complete organism. For example, the humans, we are having number of organ systems. Respiratory system, circulatory system, the number of this digestive system, then your immune system, then your etc. Right? They all are working together, right? In us. What are they made up of? They are made up of organs, different organs. In circulatory system, your heart is working along with your arteries, your veins and your lungs, right? Organs came from the tissues came from the cell, right? The life started from the cell and the life improvised itself and created a full-fledged organism, right? So why tissue? Because it becomes hectic for a single cell to do a number of tasks, right? For example, in our school, can only one person control a school? No, one cannot, right? There is a team. Similarly, cells are creating a team and that team is tissue. So we will talk about two types of tissues, that is plant tissue and animal tissue today. Today we'll deal with only plant tissue. Alright, plant tissue. So plant tissue is basically of two types. Plant tissue is basically of two types. One is meristematic tissue or meristem, and another one is permanent tissue. Meristematic tissue, permanent tissue, right? Starting with meristematic tissue. What are its features? Meristematic tissue is made up of what type of cells? It is made up of small cells, the cells which are small, okay? Cells, the shape of the cell is mainly tube-like, we call it cubicle, alright? The cell wall, remember cell wall? We did it in last chapter. Cell wall is quite thin, बहुत ही पतली. Their nucleus is large nucleus. Vacuoles are almost absent. Vacuoles are generally not present. Okay. The main thing about meristematic tissue is that they can divide as long as they want to. They can divide continuously, right? And this is the feature which differentiates meristematic from the permanent tissue. The permanent tissue do not divide, or say it cannot divide. Even this permanent tissue is made from meristematic tissue. That meristematic tissue which has lost the capability to divide, it turns out into permanent tissue, right? So meristematic tissue is that the cells of which can divide continuously, while the permanent tissue is that cannot divide, right? So meristematic tissue is further of two types. This meristematic tissue is of two types. Number one is apical meristem. Number two is lateral meristem. Apical. Apical means it is present on the apex. The word apex means it is present on the tip. Lateral meristem, as the word lateral suggests, it means it is present on the sides. Alright? Apical meristem, lateral meristem. So apical meristem, if it is present on the apex, on the tips, that means, for example, this is a plant, this is the root, stem, the roots. So apical meristem is present here on the tips. If it is present on the tip, that means it is helping the plant to grow either upsides or downwards. The plant is elongating, right? Another meristem is lateral meristem, which is present on the sides here. If it is present on the sides, that means it is helping the plant to increase in diameter. It is helping the plant to grow in girth. It's widening it. Apical meristem is elongating it, and this lateral meristem is making the plant thick. Okay, two type of meristematic tissue, apical and next one is lateral. Now lateral meristem is also known as cambium. It is also known as cambium. So remember always, apical present on the tips, it helps the plant to elongate. Lateral meristem present on the sides, it helps the plant to grow in the diameter, to grow in the girth, to widen the plant. Alright, this is about meristematic tissue. Okay, coming to permanent tissue. Permanent tissue, as we said, they cannot divide. Permanent tissue is of three types. Protective tissue, as the name suggests, which will protect. It is protective tissue. Next is supporting tissue. The one which will support is supporting tissue. And the last is conducting tissue. Conduct means to transport something. The one which will conduct something, whether it be water, whether it be food, is known as conducting tissue. Permanent tissue is of three types. Permanent. These three cannot divide. Okay, remember this. Protective, supporting, conducting. Coming to protective tissue, they are protecting. So they need to be strong, right? So their cell walls are thick. They are quite thick cells. That is why they are protecting the plant. Alright. For example, epidermis. Protective tissue is present in the epidermis. What is epidermis? Is the outer layer of the body. Even our skin, it is having the outer layer as epidermis, which is protecting us. Similarly, in the plants, epidermis is present. The outermost layer of the plant is epidermis, which is quite thick, and it is acting as a protective tissue. Alright. Next is supporting tissue. Supporting tissue means which supports the plant. It is again of three types. Parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. Starting with parenchyma, they are thin-walled. They are thin-walled, patli cell wall. They can be oval. They can be oval, egg shape. They can be round. They can be with many sides, polygon. Okay. Their nucleus is big. Vacuoles are present. Vacuoles which store food and water. Okay. Basically, the function of parenchyma is to store food. For example, your potato now, it is full of starch. Which cells are storing starch in potato? They are parenchymatous cells. They are cells of parenchyma tissue. But it also supports the plant. That is why it comes under the category of supporting tissue. Alright, parenchyma, thin-walled, can be oval, can be spherical, can be polygonal. Basically, they store food, but apart from storing food, they also support the plant. That is why they are coming under the category of supporting tissue. Alright, second type is collenchyma. Collenchyma is basically present in the soft parts of the plant. For example, leaves, right? The collenchyma, they are basically elongated, lumbae. Okay, they are present in the leaf stalks. They are, I forgot to tell you one thing. Parenchyma, if present in leaves, it is known as chlorenchyma. You have to remember this thing because such questions often comes in your exams. One word, bio is all about one words, right? So you should know one word things. So parenchyma, when present in leaf, it is known as chlorenchyma. Now do not get confused between collenchyma and chlorenchyma, okay? Why chlorenchyma? Because we know that in leaves chlorophyll is present, right? So because of the green color, due to the chlorophyll, parenchyma becomes chlorenchyma, right? This is about parenchyma. Coming to collenchyma again, they are made up of elongated cells, the lumbae cells, which are thick, okay, thick at the corners here. It is present in the leaf stalks, even in the stem. This tissue, as its type, it supports the plant. Last is sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma is basically made up of dead cells. The cells which are dead, alright. So dead cells, they are quite thick, very thick. Why thick? Because of the presence of a material which is surrounding these cells. The name of the material you must remember is lignin. It is a protein basically, lignin. They are quite thick cells. They are thick because some material is deposited around them. That material is known as lignin. Alright. And again, the main function of this sclerenchyma is support the plant, give strength to the plant. We are dealing with permanent tissue. Permanent tissue, first type, protective. Protective permanent tissue. Protective is the one which protects, right? Number 2 is supporting permanent tissue. Supporting permanent tissue is of 3 types: parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. Parenchyma basically stores food but also supports the plant. If present in leaf, it is known as chlorenchyma. Second type is collenchyma, made up of elongated cells which are thick at the corners. They also provide support to the plant. And third type is sclerenchyma, which is made up of basically dead cells, and they are having one material around themselves known as lignin, and they also provide strength to the plant, that they also provide support to the plant. Alright. Now the last type of the permanent tissue is conducting tissue. Conducting tissue is again of 2 types. Number 1 is xylem. This you all know, xylem and phloem. Xylem and phloem. Before proceeding, this protective tissue and the supporting tissue, that means the parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, they all are made up of single type of cells. That is why They are known as simple permanent tissue. They all are made up of one type of cells. That is why they are known as simple permanent tissue. This question may arise, so you should know. Simple. And this conducting tissue, that is xylem and phloem, they are made up of more than one type of cells. That is why they are known as complex tissue. So always remember this simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. What comes under simple is your parenchyma, your collenchyma, your sclerenchyma. And what comes under complex is xylem and phloem. Alright, xylem and phloem. Starting with xylem, and let us deal with them side by side. They both are made up of four types of cells. Xylem is made up of tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma, and xylem fibers, also known as sclerenchyma. Okay, phloem is also made up of four types of cells. They are made up of sieve tubes, sieve cells, companion cells. They are also made up of phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers or sclerenchyma. They both are having four cells. Remember, we said more than one number of cells. That is why the name complex. Alright? They both are conducting tissue. Conducting tissue is part of permanent tissue. One is xylem. Xylem, what does it conduct? It conducts food and minerals. Roots obtain food and minerals from the soil and they transport it to the upper part of the plant. Phloem, it is present in the leaves already. It collects the food and deliver it to all the rest parts of the plant. So they both are conducting one thing or another thing. Xylem is made up of tracheids. Tracheids are cells which are present one above the other forming a tube. Similarly, vessels are also the tubes from which water is passing. Parenchyma, the function of parenchyma is to store things. It stores water in the xylem, it stores food in the phloem. Okay? And the fibers are made up of sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma is dead cell. That means it is providing support. Okay? Phloem also, one are sieve cells, companion cells. The word companion means company, right? Your friends. Because sieve cells do not have a nucleus. And if a cell is not having a nucleus, it is clueless that what should I do? Imagine a person with no brain. What that person will do? Someone have to assist that person. So sieve cells are not having nucleus. That is why companion cells are helping the sieve cells to perform their function, because companion cells have not only one but more than one nucleus. So they are also providing end-to-end support. One cell is lying above the other and so on, and they are helping to transport food. Parenchyma is storing food in them, and phloem fibers are providing strength to the plant. Alright. Now, xylem is basically dead. Why? Because it is made up of three dead cells. Sclerenchyma or xylem fiber is dead. Tracheids are dead, vessels are dead. Only parenchyma is living. Three dead cells, xylem as a whole is dead. Phloem is known as living. Why living? Because sieve cells are living, companion cells are living, parenchyma are living. These three parts are living. That is why phloem is living. Only one phloem fiber made up of sclerenchyma is dead. Okay? Xylem and phloem. Xylem is dead because it is made up of three dead parts. Phloem is living because it is made up of three living parts. Alright. So, a quick summary of this plant tissue. Plant tissue is basically of two types. Number one is Meristematic. Number 2 is permanent. Meristematic is further of two types, apical meristem and lateral meristem, also known as, answer this to yourself. Permanent tissue is of three types: protective, next one is supporting, and last one is conducting. Okay, protective has no type, supportive is of three types: parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. This is living, this is living, this is dead. Conducting is of two types, xylem and phloem. That is all about plant tissue. Feel free to ask any questions if you are confused in any of the above things, and rest of the thing will continue in the next class. Thank you.